It's 4 o'clock on a Friday. You know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi's Quarantini Happy Hour. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. And today we're going to talk about, do these sounds sound dated? And thank you, fake audience. Thank you very much, fake band. Let's see who's in that chat room. Whoa. Holy smokes. I don't know if that's a lot of people or if people are just saying hello to each other, but we've got Martin Gravel, Jesse J. Peck, Darren Moss. Hey, Darren, I did see your question, but our printer's out of ink, so I didn't copy it and print it, so you may have to ask it later. Let's see. Whoa. Bob Gunnerfelt is in the house. Nancy Kalel, Il Rosso Emil, Kristen Knight. Super excited to be here today. Well, we're excited to have you. Welcome to the big show. It's the Friday edition where we get silly. Andre Stepanian, Ewart Williams, Alex Dillon, Peter Rayhill. Yes, 6 like. Everybody hit that little blue thing and give us a like. We need all the likes we can get. Let's see who else we've got here. Ronnie Bear, Dean Turner, Trev Fury, you made it. Yay. Songs from a Headband. Hello. Dan Weber. Hear ye, hear ye. So check it out. Look back right there. I went zucchini picking. Hello, Mark Reel. Check these guys out. Look at the size of these monsters. There's no question in my mind that good soil and fertilizer go a long way when growing zucchini. Is it zucchini or zucchinis? I'm not sure. Wow, Kristen Knight officially joined Taxi today. Cool. Welcome aboard. Lane Bell and Shrek, hello. That is from the Lasco Organic Farm. I mean, honestly, at the grocery store, if something organic is considerably more money than something that's got pesticides, I'll buy the cheap one with the pesticides. But yes, those are all grown with organic fertilizer. And hopefully there's no radioactive material in our backyard. Bonzo, are you in the house yet? Because today's show, we are going to be listening to your submissions that the screener said had dated synth sounds, and we'll examine all 4 of them and go for hole plugs. There you go. Oh, so 10 minutes ago, I was sitting here getting ready, getting the camera fired up and all that good stuff, and I look out in the yard, and the squirrel is sitting there up on his haunches with about a golf ball sized tomato, nice red tomato from one of my plants, and he's just sitting there with it in his mouth looking at me like, ha, 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 what are you going to do about it? Oh, man. Those squirrels, I tell you. Bonzo better show up. Crash Gates, hello. Paul Rickard, hello. Tony Salazzo, hello. Robert Martin, hello. All right, well, I don't know if Bonzo's showing up or not, but today, remember on the episode, was it Wednesday, where Bonzo said, I bought all new synth sounds, and Jonathan Harrison, hello, my first time and yet to submit any music. Well, welcome to our dysfunctional little Manson family. We love hanging out together. Excuse me, Rockstar burp. And today's flavor is the Blue Edition. Woohoo! I think it's tasty, personally. So anyway, the other day, Bonzo was in the chat room, and he asked a question in the comment area the night before and said that he'd gotten feedback on 4 of his submissions from a couple of different screeners that the synth sounds were kind of dated sounding, and yet he had just recently upped his game by buying some new stuff. And so today what we're going to do is I'm going to read the listing that he submitted for, and then we're going to play the 4 tracks, and after I play each one, we're going to read every single word that the screeners had on the critique sheets. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting very involved in the chat room today. Let me get my earbuds in, and we can get the show rolling here in a minute. Hello, Mark Reel. The right one. And the left one. And now I can't hear anything. Okay, so unfortunately, our printer ran out of ink like an hour ago. So anyway, I've got to read these from the screen, so I'm going to be blocking my view of myself, which may actually be a good thing. Hello, Edmund. How are you? All right. Well, Bonzo's not in the chat yet, so Bonzo's going to have to just watch the rerun tonight. It's sad. He knew today's show was going to be all about him. Damn it, Bonzo. Where are you, buddy? Hello, Pierre. How are you? All right. So the listing, this was for listing S200906EP. So S200906EP. And the listing read as follows. Several current-sounding electropop instrumentals are needed by a very successful boutique music library that's distributed globally by Universal Music and has tons of credits in big films, countless TV shows, and commercials. This is a catalog that you want to be in. They're on the hunt for quite a few mid to up-tempo instrumental cues in the general stylistic ballpark of the following references they gave us. Unfortunately, I'm not going to risk playing the references because it may get the show blocked later. So hopefully you're familiar with these, or you can listen to them on your own. And the references are Say Now by Raphael Lake, Aaron Levy, and Ambrose Arnold. I wonder if Aaron Levy is the Aaron Levy that used to work at Taxi. Interesting. Endless Summer, and it doesn't say by whom, so maybe that one was a library cue that they used as a reference. I'm not sure. And then Ritual by Tiesto, Jonas Blue, and Rita Ora. Okay, although some of the references have vocals, please submit instrumental cues only for this pitch. Please submit well-produced instrumental cues that embody a fun, youthful vibe and sound. Craft your submissions around killer melodies, exuberant beats, wow, that was a big word for us, and a commercial-friendly sound. Please be sure that your production sounds polished and super modern. Sounds polished and super modern. Dated sounding software synths will not work for this pitch. They're looking for stuff that's fresh, young, and fun. All right. All submissions should be about 2 minutes long, give or take. Good edit points and non-faded button stinger endings are required. Ooh, very stringent word, are required. Broadcast quality is needed. Note, this company is only interested in signing material from composers who've worked with music libraries and music licensing companies in the past and understand how those deals work. If you don't understand the drill on library deals, then they politely ask that you don't submit. All right, the rest of it is boilerplate. It's the explanation of the deal, and yeah, that stuff's not important to what we're doing here today. So once again, several current-sounding electropop instrumental cues are needed by a very successful boutique music library. It's distributed globally by Universal and has tons of credits in big films, countless TV shows, and commercials. This is a catalog you want to be in. They're on the hunt for quite a few mid to up-tempo instrumental cues in the general stylistic ballpark of these references, which, once again, I can't play because the show could get blocked for copyright issues. Please submit well-produced instrumental cues that have a fun, youthful vibe and sound. Craft your submissions around killer melodies, exuberant beats, and a commercial-friendly sound. Please be sure the production sounds polished and super modern. Dated-sounding software synths will not work for this pitch. They're looking for stuff that's fresh, young, and fun. All right, so that's that. Let me see what's going on in there. Still no Bonzo showing up. All right, well, We're going to have to do this without him. Okay, so let's see. The first one we're going to listen to is called Bold New Day. All right. So, gosh, I wish Bonzo was here. Let me pull up and see what the screen. By the way, how are the levels on that? Was it good in your computer? Sounded pretty good level wise here, but want to make sure you guys are good. Okay, so. All right, levels are good. That's good. All right. So here's what the screener said. This is for Bold New Day. Under what I like most about this song, the screener said, I like the use of the tonality and upbeat attitude of this instrumental. Under the heading of I think you could improve this song by, excuse me, another rock star burp, consider listening to the references and notice the current sound and style of the arrangements. Investigate the references and notice the use of rhythmic phrasing and how the synth colors blend well. An open arrangement is without a lot of kinetic dense energy. An open arrangement is without a lot of kinetic dense energy, and that's key. I returned or forwarded this song because the track has a good retro electric sound, yet the style and use of instrumentation veers from the listing's request. Okay. Under additional things I noticed, it said style genre is off target with the listing request, not contemporary is requested. Under recording and production, it says song instrument sounds or samples sound dated or of lower quality. Oh, so those were checkboxes. Style genre is off is a checkbox, not contemporary is requested is a checkbox, and song instrument sounds or samples sound dated or of lower quality, also a checkbox. So what did you guys think? Was the screener, I see Bonzo's still not here, I'm bummed out. How did the screener do? Where am I? There I am. Yes, I agree with the screener from Andre. Dan Weber, screener, got it right. Karen Brasher says sounded Euro pop. I actually really like the melody, and frankly, I listened to these last night, and I've got to say, Bonzo's got a really good sense of melody. Robert Orzechowski says the rhythm needs to be changed. Nothing of any instrument stands out. Dynamics is the more important thing here. Kristen Knight says agree with the screener. And by the way, it's not a bad cue. I mean, it's not like it's horrible or there's anything horribly wrong with it. It's just not really done well or done correctly for listing. Aaron Northern says it's the instrumentation that's dated, bass line and drum line for sure. Alex Dillon, the samples do sound on the older side. Robert Orzechowski agrees with the screener. Liz Dieleman says, I agree. It's really nice, but it's not young and fresh. It is kind of uplifting. It does have a fun vibe to it. Pierre Venio says screener was spot on. Darren Moss says, I don't know the reference track, but the review seemed fair to me. Peter Rahill says, why not A-B comparison your synth patches and sounds with cues that got forwarded and or placed? Yeah, I mean, that's great. Go into the Taxi Forwards blog or go into the Taxi Forum at forums.taxi.com and look at the forward section and see if anybody else got a forward. I'm sure they did for this particular listing, and listen to their stuff compared to your stuff, or if you're Bonzo, especially your stuff, because that's what we're talking about today. Man, I wish he was here. Let's see. Mark Real agrees. The melody was nice. Production needs some polish, in my opinion, from Edmund Red. Riney Bear says the arrangement needs a few changes. Il Rosso Emil says the screener wasn't off. It was lacking edge, youth, parting. Darren Moss says the melody stuck in my head, reminds me of Nintendo. It was kind of a like an 8-bit melody part. I thought it was cute and nice. Riney says, but awesome track. It was. It had some good qualities to it. Ian Shortall says, this is not really my genre, but I think it did seem dated to me, and the mix maybe needs some work. That was something that I thought to myself last night was the mix. Again, nothing about this was horrible. It's just, I listened to it and I went, this mix could be better. But it's not like, oh my gosh, that person has no clue. It's definitely not bad like that. Spiritual says, I thought about video games too. Ronald Schultz, this is why I stay away from pop, but I have to say the screener was right. Liz Dieleman says, you're right, Michael. It's nicely upbeat, but sounds just a bit dated. Yeah, it's emotionally upbeat. It's like, it is fun and happy. I'll give him that. Lead synth reminded me of Popcorn Tune. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. I like to eat popcorn. One of our members he's a pharmacist by day, and he and his wife started a flavored popcorn company out of their kitchen, and now it's like a real company. And a couple times he's sent me these really big boxes of 5 to 10 different flavors of popcorn. I can't remember the name of the brand of popcorn right now, or I'd plug it. But he's got one flavor called stuffed baked potato, something like that. And it's got sour cream, bacon, cheddar cheese in it, and you eat it. Loaded baked potato, that's what it's called. And it does taste like if you went to Wendy's and got the loaded baked potato, it's really good. Jesse says, I'm lost, no screaming guitars. Oh, man. Carrie says, is it the instruments or the use of them that gives it the dated Ealing? I don't know. I mean, it was kind of a combination of stuff. The parts were written in a dated way as well. Uh, I don't know popcorn. I probably know it if I heard it. I'd go, oh, that's. I'm just terrible. As anybody who's a regular here can tell you, I'm really bad with names. I'm horrible with song titles. When I worked with Neil Young, he used to laugh at me pretty frequently for not remembering the titles of his songs, considering, it wasn't like we were working on 100 of them. It was like a dozen of them, and I couldn't remember the titles. Make my kids wear name tags to the dinner table. I got to pop one of these out. I'm feeling a little claustrophobic right now. Thought the bass was too busy. Bonzo will arrive in 5 minutes to go and say, did I miss anything? Any suggestions for how to make it sound more current? Run samples through something like Ovox to make it more contemporary. Edit the MIDI to vary it a little more. Honestly, I'm not a producer or a keyboard player, so other people in the chat would probably be better to tell you than I. Jonathan Harrison says, levels are good, but it is dated. Reminds me of 70s disco track, just needs reworking harmonically. It also says, I suppose you could also say the style was a bit silly in all respect, which wasn't really called for in the listing. The chord structure was dated. Yeah, that was something I thought last night when I listened. It's hard because the 80s synth is back in style, but there's a super fine line between retro, which can be more fresh, and dated. Can be hard to nail. That's true, Liz. I agree. Make the top line a bit less busy. It was bouncy and did kind of emulate an 8-bit video game piece of music. But again, it's not like the cue's useless. It's just not right for this. It could use some mixing, but in the right context for the right listing, he's definitely in the ballpark. Drum patterns need updating. My two synths, Serum and Massive, those are both great, I hear. Andre says less instruments and more space, use of the right reverb with the right final mix. Okay, so there you go. So the screener was right, and you guys have given some great suggestions. When Bondo watches this tonight after he gets home from work or wherever he is, hopefully he'll take some of this to heart and understand that it's coming from a place of love and that you guys are being helpful. Okay, so now shall we listen to, oh, that's right, didn't print it out. Let's see what's next up to bat here. Okay, the next one is called Bonfire Summer. yeah, there's the microphone. All right, let me find that one was called Bonfire Summer. Okay, so what the screener said. What I like most about the song, that's a category header. I like the foundation and the use of the accompaniment on this instrumental. Next header, I think you could improve this song by consider the use of the animated synth, which is that high little bubbly part, again with that. Consider the use of the animated synth in the pre-chorus and bridge. The kinetic energy of the line is a bit much compared to the phrasing of the chorus. Listen to the references and notice if animation is used and how much. Try an alt arrangement and remove this kinetic line to get closer to the desired sound. I think that's good, solid advice. I returned or forwarded this song because, which is a header, the track had a good sense of positive feeling, although it could benefit from a revision in the arrangement to meet the listing's criteria. Additional things I noticed: a header under style genre is off target with the listing. Under recording and production, song instrument sounds or samples sound dated and of lower quality. Honestly, I think it's that stuff that sounds video game-ish was probably the thing that generated that concept of, the thing sounds dated and the sounds are not of high quality. They sound out of context. All right, and I made a note that the kick drum sounded good in the beginning, but there were times where the drums did. There were, I think, two turnarounds in there where it sounded very much, very dated, very 80s, almost like rototoms or something in there. It just didn't sound like it was in the right place. And let's see, people said more video game tones. I like this one. R2D2 dance mode, excellent beginning, very cool. Sounds like it could be used in a corporate video or something like that, and I mean that in a good way. Thank you, Darren. Mike S says good feel, but lead instrument is not prominent enough. Peter Rahill says YouTube Blue Water sailing channels. I watch use music like this. Giovanni Lanza says it was better than the last. He just says better. I'm assuming that he meant better than the last one. Mark really agrees with Darren Moss. Ronnie Bear says, I like the feel, but again, the arrangement needs a little help. The overall ambience seems to be too animated. I've got to say, all the years that I have owned and run taxi, I have never seen a screener use the word animated before. And when I saw that in this critique, I thought, oh, he's talking about that, the little high part. Let's see. I picture Europop. It's too tame for the listing, says Karen Brasher. Akira Canyon. Hello, Akira. I missed hearing the listing description, but if Bonzo saved the MIDI for this, he should be able to replace the lead sine wave instrument with a more modern virtual instrument. Jan Weilich says the deep bass sounds disappear without my headphones. Interesting. Ian Shortle says, I don't think it drives enough. I don't really hear great edit points. Could have double times. The kick in a section to change it up a little bit, and the melody could have been more contemporary. Yes, it was for the same listing, El Raso. I'm scanning. Darren Fletcher says it all sounds a bit too wet in the reverb sense. I think that's the only sense it could be in the context of music. Either that or my computer just fell in the bathtub. Reference sounds are drier. Loved it, though. Yeah, I mean, again, I when Bonzo watches his show tonight, watches the rerun, as it were, Bonzo, I want you to feel encouraged. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, you're horrible and you're so off the mark and, you've got no hope. You're in the ballpark. I mean, you're in the game. You just need some fine tuning. El Rosso says wasn't really happy enough. Andre says think it should say. Sorry about EDM. I think it should just say EM music and cut the D for dance out of EDM. El Rosso thought it was melancholic. Nice track though. Aaron Northern says good ideas, but the instrumentation doesn't excite. Andre says too slow for BPM for dance. Riney says, Bonzo, you were very talented. Ian Shortle says, I do like both so far. Yeah, I mean, when I listened last night, I went, well, yeah, this guy, I know it's got to be frustrating when you're making music that sounds like, those sound like, legit instrumental cues. They need some fine tuning. They're off the mark for what was asked for, but you know how to make an instrumental cue. Could you be building in edit points? Yeah. Could you, do stuff that gives a little more forward momentum? Yes. Is there a little too much reverb? Possibly. There you go. Maybe deconstruct the tune and reassemble it gradually to hit a climax. Dan Weber was melancholic as a child. I think that was just colic, right? I hope. Nothing worse than a sad child. Liz Dielman says, think there's a place for this, like social media ads, just not a good fit for this listing, but it's not bad. It's all about the listing, Pierre says. The exact same tracks may be on the mark for another listing. They could be. It could still use like edit points, things like that, just as, put it this way, you're not competing as a taxi member with other taxi members when the screeners are listening. They don't listen to it and go, oh, well, this wasn't as good as the last one I heard. I'm not going to forward it. Everyone is judged on every single one is judged on its own merits as compared to the requests in the listing. And if it meets the quality bar and it's a match stylistically, it'll get a forward. Once the stuff is forwarded and listened to by the person on the end user end, the library owner or the record label person, whomever, especially library people, then it becomes competitive. But you're not only competing with other taxi members, you're competing with anybody else they might be getting music from, which would likely include composers that are already in their catalogs that have become like their go-to people because they know the drill. They've already signed the contract. They're not going to belabor that. They know, like what format the company likes stuff delivered in. They know if they want meta tags done before or not. All those little businessy things that make doing business with them easy. So you're going to be competing against other members and other members who are already in their catalog, other people who are in their catalog that came to them from other sources and other years. So you've got to be good enough to compete with them. But on a taxi level, when the screeners are listening, you're not competing with other members to get a forward for that listing. The new drone videos use this sound. They do. And, I want to say something because a couple of people said, well, this would be good for online ads, it'd be good for the drone videos. A lot of that stuff this makes my point. How I don't hate royalty-free libraries, but it upsets me a little bit when people say, well, your screener didn't forward me. This would be a great example. Bonzo didn't get a forward for this stuff. But could he go to one of the royalty-free libraries that has a lower bar than, kind of the A-list libraries that we work with? Yeah. And I don't mean this to denigrate Bonzo at all. This isn't about him. The statement I'm about to make is not about him or his music. But in general, those royalty-free libraries tend to be much more forgiving in what they'll take. They figure more is better. The more stuff they have in their catalog, the chances of someday somebody using it, increase. And their only goal is to get more music used, which makes sense. They're in business and they want to make money. But that's why you hear a lot of music that is anywhere from C plus to A minus, maybe sometimes not even C plus. In some of the royalty-free catalogs I've heard, the music can range from not very good to not bad to that's pretty good to wow, that one's a good one. I'm surprised it's in that catalog. That's my personal experience from listening to many of the royalty-free libraries online and perusing their catalogs. So my point is that when people post on the forum or people post online in other places other than the Taxi forum, Taxi didn't forward my thing. Well, this would be a good example of this didn't get forwarded, but it would be very acceptable in a royalty-free catalog. And I'm not saying that Bonzo would do this, but other people have done that where they go online and say, well, Taxi rejected my stuff and it ended up, I got it into several other libraries. Which libraries? So there you go. We're talking about the halo over my head again. No. Let's talk about my giant zucchinis. Look at this. The zucchini crop came in. The funny thing is, I'm getting like 2 a day that are this big. Not to mention the fact that I think we've gotten about a bushel of tomatoes in total so far. And I feel like the Forrest Gump of tomatoes. Frankly, I don't really even like zucchini. My wife loves it. Our granddaughter loves it. Kristen Knight, let's talk about that beautiful cabinet. I love that. Really batter up. I am the Forrest Gump of tomatoes, because we have so many tomatoes that we're like, tomato gumbo, fried tomatoes, just anything we could think of to make with tomatoes. The other night I made pasta with a homemade from scratch tomato sauce using about, a couple of dozen tomatoes, because we just had so many that were going to go bad. So I put them all in a big skillet and simmered them and added garlic and olive oil, salt and pepper. What else? And basil. No oregano that night. I didn't want the oregano to overpower the taste of the fresh tomatoes. And let me tell you, you can absolutely... I took a tomato, a hothouse tomato that I got at the grocery store that was about the same age and the same color as some tomatoes that had come off of our vines the day before. And I cut a slice from each one of them and did an A/B taste test. The Lasco Family Farms tomatoes were definitely more flavorful. I would say 15 to 20% more flavorful. So there you go. Ooh, it's a great appetizer. A sliced zucchini broiled with cream cheese on top. I'm assuming you broil it and then put the cream cheese on. I've been slicing these bad boys like this, and then I take a knife and just put little serrations in the white side. Then brush it with olive oil, really good, like first press olive oil, and just kosher salt and some fresh ground pepper, and throw those babies on the grill. That's the way I like my zucchini. Fried zucchini rocks, especially. Ooh, fried anything rocks, Riney. Buttered cooked zucchini. You know what my wife picked up the other day at Costco? What's this stuff called? Hold on. It's show and tell. I've got to go get a prop, and then we're going to listen to another song. Another track. Of course, no, I can't find it. Let me see if I can see my face here. This stuff. Ancient organic ghee. Excuse me, which is the Indian version of like clarified butter. Today's cooking show. It smells like when you open up really good caramels um, and smell them, it's got that kind of smell. This is, I've had ghee before, and this came from Costco. And, I mean, I have no idea what she paid for this. Frankly, she probably has no idea what she paid for this. My wife's like, "Oh, that looks interesting." Put it in the cart. Honey, how much was that? I don't know. Okay. Um, anyway, what did I make the other night? Oh, I made um, a seafood Alfredo pasta. And I added some of the ghee to the Alfredo as I was making it, and it definitely improved the taste. Clarified butter from the Galloping Gourmet. Akira, are you old enough to even know about the Galloping Gourmet? He is the one that got me interested in cooking, frankly. When I was, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years old, I had mononucleosis and had to stay home from school for a month. And I loved the Galloping Gourmet. One night, I called my parents at work, or one afternoon, I called my parents and said, "Can you pick up a beef tenderloin on your way home from work?" And my mother's like, "What the hell are you talking about? You're like 8 years old. What do you mean beef tenderloin?" Said, "Do it. Pick up a beef tenderloin." So she did. And I made beef stroganoff as an 8 or 9 year old. Yep, Graham Kerr. Love that guy. Okay. Moving on now. Back to actual work here. All right, the next one is called Gusto Party. I like it. Yes, same listing. Okay. Bonzo does do a good job with melody. Uh, yeah, I like his melodies. That was the very first thing I noticed last night. All right, let's listen to what the screener said. Let me find that in this document on my laptop. Bold New Day. Gusto Party. Okay. Under the heading of what I like most about this, the screener says, "Hi, Patrick. I like the positive attitude and the use of the harmonic progression." Under the heading of, "I think you could improve the song by consider the use and character of the lead synths." This is clearly a different screener. I can just tell by the writing style. I'm not actually seeing a screener number on here. Consider the use and character of the lead synths. Electropop in the past was these lead sounds. Today's current sounds are more FM synth based. Sorry. Also, the kinetic energy of these lines and the character of their sound diminishes the current character sound in arrangement referenced and requested in the listing. So there's the screener giving feedback that it was the kinetic energy of these lines combined with the character of their sound diminishes the current, it takes it out of being current. Under the heading of I returned or forwarded this song because, screener says, the track has a good electropop sound, yet the theme is a bit more cute than the attitudes portrayed in the references. Cute is a good word for Bonzo's style in these four. Additional things I noticed under the heading of style: mood is off target with the listing request. That was a checkbox. Recording and production, checkbox. Some instrument sounds or samples sound dated or of lower quality. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying in the chat room. Could have put a riser in the break. The structure is there. Update the VSTIs with some native instrument expansions. Move some stuff around and you're done. Bonzo does a good job putting a melody in an instrument. Fact melodies are soprano. I'm guessing they'd work better for a non-dialogue scene than rather scenes with dialogue. Like that piece would have been great in How They Made It, if that's what that show is called, where they show how golf balls are made or guillotines. They actually had one showing how to make a guillotine, just in case you needed to know that. I love that show. It's great late night TV when it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't sleep. Hope that they've got a how it's made or how they made it marathon on Sci-Fi. You're good. Sounds like number 19 feedback. I beg to differ with you on that, Dan. I don't know that his terminology is that sophisticated, honestly. Il Rosso sounds a little bit more like a kid's show, like Dora the Explorer or something. It does, and again, this is not a put down. It's just understand what you're making. I think Il Rosso is very right. In the context of needing cute, emotionally uplifting music for an animated show, this would be really good. Kinetic here means movement, activity, business. That's a toe tapper, but I don't know if that works for the listing, but I thought of a fun guitar line for it. Nice. Sounds like a fun scene. Yep. His ability to compose upbeat pop melodies could just be his strong suit wheelhouse. Exploit that. There you go. Save the MIDI and reassign to other libraries. Imagine Bonzo songs in a TV commercial for a toddler's product. Would work well. They're cute and catchy and melodic. Yeah, think about this. When I was listening last night, I actually was envisioning a commercial with a kid who's like 10 months old and one of those donut-shaped walker things, where you drop the kid in there. It's like you're busy cooking dinner. You want to get your kid out of the way. So you drop him in that little walker thing with the little balls on the little hoopy thing, and the little horn to honk, and the kids going me, 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 like one of those robot vacuum cleaners all over the house while you're making your pasta sauce. Or when you're making your zucchini. Get out of the kitchen. I'm making zucchini here. Lead synths need to change. The top line was maybe too prevalent in the mix. The beats are more prevalent in the references, I think. Andre says some instruments sound like it was from a toy Casio keyboard, unless he wanted that sound. Yeah, that's the 8-bit thing that we were talking about earlier. Linda Cullum says, slices zucchini 1/4 inch thick for the broiler. Sorry, just need to say. The hard part, I love putting zucchini, a lot of other vegetables on the grill as well. And I love it when the grate on the grill is dirty with the residue from, like the steak you just cooked on there. So you get a little bit of that, like, red meat fat taste, sticking to your zucchini or whatever the vegetable is. The problem I have is there's a very short window of time between when the vegetable is cooked to perfection or you've cooked it literally 30 seconds to a minute too long and it gets just a little too limp, You know what I'm saying? All right. Enough with the cooking. Back to the music part of the show. They're called courgette in England. Well, they should be called courgette in France, now that you mention it. Yes, vegetables are better when they taste like meat. uh, really, just think about that. Sliced zucchini with a fillet of gopher on it. And for those of you who are new to the chat room, you have no idea what I'm talking about. The other folks will have to fill you in. I got to get back to work here. All right, the next one is the last one we have in the fearsome foursome here is called Falling Away. Let's have a listen. Courgette. All right, and that one was Falling Away. Now I can take those off and let's see what the screener said. Under the heading of what I like most about this song, the screener said, I like the positive attitude and the fun feels of this instrumental. That sounds like screener 19. I think you could improve this song by consider listening to the references and notice the synth colors, the use of rhythm of the phrasing and the accompaniment, and the lack of consistent melodic patterns. An open arrangement with some air and a mix that matches the sonic quality of the references is key. Excuse me. Additional things I noticed under the style heading. Style is off with the listing request. Under the recording and production heading, it says song, instrument sounds or samples sound dated and of lower quality. So there you go. And what did you guys think? If I can get you to stop talking about different recipes to eat gopher with. You guys are strange. Roll your gopher in barbecue chips. Put it on the grill. Karen Brasher says, it's pretty, but some drum fills are out of time. It needs foundation. I've got to say, Bonzo, please don't hate me for saying this. I don't mean to be mean about it, but there was one drum fill in there that was like a little fancy one, and it reminded me of something that you would hear a wedding band drummer play at the end of the night when he's like, feeling loose and everybody's, starting to kind of leave the venue. That's just what crossed my mind. It was kind of a dated feel. Yes, Akira, all these were submitted for that same listing. Gopher, zucchini, and cheese casserole. There you go. Or mac and cheese with gopher. Exactly. Air meaning more space between instruments in the mix, I assume. Good tracks just need general changes. Get one right, easy to get the rest right. Good suggestion, or good observation, I should say. Um, Darren Moss says least melodic of the four for me, nice, but I miss the melodic sense in the other three. Yeah, this one, was a little reliant on the old arpeggiator, and it it Bonzo seems to shine in the department in the melody department. It really showed through in the other ones, not as much in this. Um, Carrie says, I feel like I've had a full meal and an educator, great education all at once. Um, Pierre says, would improve writing if he could learn more harmonic progressions. Have you heard the new Rick Springfield song? If I told you the title, I might get banned. Let's just say a Jesus song. Very cool track. Wow. You know me, I'm a big fan of Rick Springfield. I think that dude is underrated. He's super talented as a songwriter. I've seen him live. I'm telling you, when he jumped off a monitor stack, I mean, it was literally the most rock star thing I've ever seen, I think. The guy was playing like this very like Kelly green metallic Strat with a white pick guard and a maple neck. I remember those details. And at some point, he's way up on a stack of monitors. I think it was at the Whiskey. And he jumped off the monitors while still playing the solo to like Jesse's Girl or something, and played it all the way down. I mean, obviously, it took him like a second to hit the ground. And anybody else would have broken a leg and would have fallen face forward, landed on top of his guitar, done a face plant, but not Rick, because Rick was cool. The guy is underrated because he's just too damn pretty. You know, when you're that good looking and you're a soap opera star and you've got the Australian accent, it's like every guy in America wanted to hate him and every girl swooned over him. So the guys hated him even more because their girlfriends were more interested in their Rick Springfield fantasy than they were in the actual boyfriend sitting next to them. Audition for, EFX got into the final three. Nice. Didn't get the job, but did get to meet chat with Rick for a few. Was he as charming? Oh my God. I don't know the song references, but I'll bet Bonzo uses a different instrument set than the references. Do you think his songs would work better using the same instrument set? Possibly. Wow, the invasion must have started there. Can you hear that helicopter? That's a fast flying, low flying military helicopter. Uh, Rough him up a little bit to make him look tougher. Rick didn't think that was so funny. Uh, Ian Shortle said that one reminded me of the theme from for the Never Ending Story in a good way. Yeah, he was very charming. Nice. Repost from Darren Moss. I love the format of going through a listing, playing the tracks, discussing the screener feedback. Very educational hearing someone else's stuff and feedback. That's why we do this stuff. Wow, it's 5 o'clock already. Ted Nugent did that flaming arrows and a bow. Picked up his 335 Gibson. Never missed a beat. Oh, man. Anyway, well, Bonzo, thank you for being brave and generous and letting us play your music on here so that we could analyze it. Hopefully the feedback from the folks in the chat room will be helpful for you. And I'm glad that all you guys thought that the screeners, it looks to be, I don't know, I don't have screener numbers in front of me, but I would guess it was at least a couple of different screeners. And it just goes to show that they actually do know what they're doing. And for anybody that ever sees anybody ever saying online, Taxi uses interns to listen to your music, no, that is so not true. Just absolutely not true. Anyway, congratulations, Bonzo, for once again being generous and brave and submitting that stuff. You are not that far off. Just some tweaks, and you will be there. Remember, no regular Taxi TV on Monday because I will be fasting for Yom Kippur. 25 hours. I do drink Gatorade because otherwise I just get massive headaches and stuff. But we'll be back on Tuesday with a Quarantini happy hour, okay? There you go. See you guys very soon and have a great weekend. It's Friday. Woohoo! TGIF. See you next week on Tuesday. Remember, no show on Monday. And we'll see you soon for another exciting episode of Taxi TV or the Quarantini Happy Hour on Tuesday, 4 o'clock, right here. Got it? Got it. The Quarantini Zucchini Hour.